Welcome to In the Know with Kat Bobino. Today, I have my wonderful, wonderful co-host, Dr. Tay, in the building.
Hi,
And
everyone.
yes, and Dr. Tay had the most ingenious idea of highlighting STEM programs all over the nation and let's international if we can. So, we're going to be talking about all the programs starting the new school year, things that you can take your kids to after school, on the weekends, just STEM in general. You want to add anything, Dr. Tay?
Absolutely. Well, we know that school is starting all over the globe, and it's very
Mhm.
important to keep our resources close, not just while school is going on, but throughout the year, right? And the thing I love about co hosting with Kat is she's always providing the people with the things that they need to keep close, whether it's a wealth of knowledge, resources, network, or whatever else. So I was like, what better thing to do than to highlight some of these great people that are in our network that have these amazing programs that we really need to take advantage of, look into further, and inspire our next generation of STEMineers or STEM leaders. We don't have to do it on our own, so we're definitely going to highlight others who are there doing it as well. And then also highlight some things that Kat and I are doing throughout this as well. So this will be a great way to kind of provide that platform to expose the resources that are there for all of us.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better. Um, as you guys know, I've been putting on some events in Oakland, and one of the people, or one of the groups, I should say, that has been generous and coming to the events, even bringing a jet cockpit to one of my events back in March, is the USS Hornet. So today we have Charlotte here to talk to us about the USS Hornet.
Okay. Would you like me to start talking now, or
Well, introduce yourself. Who are
Hi,
you,
I'm
and what do
Charlotte
you?
Dicker.
What is the USS Hornet?
I'm the development director here at the USS Hornet Museum in Alameda, California, and I've been here 9 years on the ship. And I started off actually in the education department, as I was telling them beforehand. I came for my birthday and saw a flyer that said STEM instructors wanted, and I'm a former high school and science teacher. I'm also a patent attorney, and I was kind of looking to get back into nonprofit stuff. And they were just starting their STEM program at this time. And I just kind of got hooked up here writing their curriculum. So I really developed a lot of the curriculum stuff that they use now, even though I'm in a different department. Um, but I haven't left yet. So because it's so fun. What we do here is really unique with our STEM program because, I mean, in case you don't know, the USS Hornet is a World War II aircraft carrier, and we served in World War II, up the Korean War, and also our other claim to fame is we picked up the Apollo 11 and 12 astronauts. So we have a very strong heritage in the space program and whatnot too. And so when I first started doing the STEM programs, I mean, the mission was basically, okay, figure out how you're going to teach STEM using this now 80-year-old ship. Okay. And it is so fun. I mean, using a big ship like this, it's vintage, of course. Um, the neat thing about, there's a couple neat things about what we do with our program is the big thing is this neat combination of history and STEM, which, I'm a big fan of history of science and technology and stuff. I mean, it's really important. It really, I mean, the two go together. And, when kids come on board and we can explain science concepts, like, you take, for example, the catapult system that we have. And it's like a hydro-pneumatic system, and it's got these giant pulleys, shivs on it for mechanical advantage. And you show the kids this, and they're just like, wow. Because, I mean, honestly, most kids don't see, I mean, I'm a mechanical engineer by background, too, so I'm a gearhead. But, they don't see the mechanics and the science of how things work. I mean, this is, basically what they do now is everything is on their little phone. And it's really neat for them to see these principles right here, and they're pretty big and obvious. I mean, everything from our catapults to like the desalination system to, I mean, of course, flight. We do a whole program on flight and aeronautics in our night program, um, and just using the ship to teach this. And it's really it's just so much fun for kids to see that. And the other neat thing that I've seen in teaching is just a different environment. And sometimes when you kind of you think about something and you're like, I don't know if I really like science or, something like that, or whatever, and you get put in this different environment and all of a sudden it just kind of like jars you enough. So I have seen sullen middle school students come on board. And you know how middle school students are. I have two teenage daughters myself, one's graduating, one's a sophomore. And they come on board and they just come onto the hangar deck and they're just like, just blown away at seeing, this aircraft carrier. And it's sometimes enough that it just puts them in that different environment that we're like, okay, all right, I'm not going to be just sitting here pouting the whole time. This is kind of cool. Yeah. So that's sort of what we do here. So I mean, between sort of the STEM stuff that we do, where we take like a different area of the ship, be it the engine room or the catapults or I don't know, planes, whatever. We take all those different areas and we use that to teach, some kind of STEM principle. Um, and with the docents themselves, we have guys, who are veterans here, some of whom actually served on the ship still, and just hearing their stories. And I think it really just, it gives just a context for STEM. It's not just this thing out there of science. It's, this is the application of it. And It's really kind of neat for the kids. I've had a lot of fun teaching it. I mean, sometimes I go do guest lectures occasionally if they need some help, but but it's a neat program that we do. So.
I love that.
Wow. So I know we're talking about the USS Hornet, but you mentioned that you engineer background, lawyer background, if I'm not mistaken, and teaching background.
Yeah.
That's exactly where I was going to go, Kat.
Yeah, I have a very diverse career portfolio. I have a portfolio career, we'll call it that way. I actually my bachelor's is in mechanical engineering from Cal, and when I graduated, I wasn't sure I really wanted to be, an engineer per se. And I think I love talking to high school kids and stuff too, because your degree is not necessarily your job. It's really about your skills. Right. And I started off in mechanical engineering. I taught high school math and science for 6 years. Really like teaching, explaining things, and then I became a tech writer, and that was how I landed in patent law, which is I write patent applications and things. And now I'm a development director, and I still do patent law on the side. But the funny thing is, when I tell the kids this, my whole career I use everything. The cool thing about going into STEM and engineering, particularly something like mechanical engineering, it's very broad. I remember my advisor told me back in my bachelor's days that he said you can do anything with a mechanical engineering degree. And I mean, it's just that idea of the problem solving, the analytical ability. So that's why, I mean, my advice to kids is like, if you have any interest or, aptitude in that field, definitely, get an engineering degree. And you can take that so many different directions. I mean, I've definitely done like sort of alternative engineering careers. It's been a lot of fun. But there's so much you can do with STEM, and not to just rule it out because you think, I don't like science, or I don't see myself as doing that. Look at the skills behind it. Right. Look at what you learn as an engineer. That problem solving ability is so valuable. I mean, I use it now, like making, fundraising plans, and I'm looking at spreadsheets and data, and I'm the big dork on board. So yeah, that's
No,
what I
I'm
think.
glad you said that because a lot of times we don't learn these things until it's either too late or we're further in our career, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Oh, yeah.
like law and science, I wish I knew more about it earlier on
Mhm.
because I'm not going back to school. There's no way. But if I would have known earlier on, maybe I would have had that law science combination in my career today.
I never knew it was a field. I never knew this existed. I never gave it a thought. And actually, I graduated from law school when I was like 30. So there was a definite, break in between there.
Mhm.
And I went to Golden Gate over in the city, did the night program and whatnot. And my computer just did something weird. There it is. Okay. Um, and there were a few other engineers in my class too. And it's like, and actually, then I went to this firm that I've worked with for years now. He's an engineer too. And it's just this whole field of patent law that you need this technical background to do, but it's not like, but it's a very alternative, kind of thing that you can do with that engineering degree. Finance is another one. Um, the business schools love engineers because you can do math. My husband works up at Lawrence Berkeley Lab, and he was talking to folks at Berkeley too, and they were like, "Oh, you have a physics degree? What? What? We want to talk to you." So it's
So, I mean, on that note, I feel like later on we're going to need you and your husband to come back on the show to talk about the science
Yes.
that you guys have done or the STEM that you guys have
sure.
done.
Mm-hmm.
And as everyone knows, we do this live on Facebook and YouTube. And I see Sherry made a comment. Do you know Sherry Carpenter?
Small world. Yes, Sherry and I went to elementary school together.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
really? I just saw Sherry on Monday celebrating a friend's birthday.
Wow.
Small
Yeah.
world.
Small world, and Kevin. I mean, it's just
That is amazing. So she's probably gonna hit you up after this. Um, but yeah, so the USS Hornet, I've had the pleasure of having them come to my events, two events, in fact. One was in March where we went and gave away science kits. And some of so the event was with COSI, the Center of Science and Industry. They provided me with 750 kits. And I think we gave most of them away at this school, Manzanita.
Oh yeah.
And they bought a replica jet cockpit. And the
Real jet
volunteers
cockpit.
were,
Actually, it's a real one.
see, they told me it was, it's a real one?
Even better.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, it's cut off the front of the plane. Yeah, it's
Ah,
a real cockpit.
Okay, so
Did
they
you get
told
to
me
sit
it
in it?
was,
Did you sit in it and play pilot?
I did. I sat in it. I did not push kids out the way. I just kind of got in front of the kids. But
the thing is, now I'm realizing why they told you it's a replica.
right, that's probably why. Because I probably was like, get out of the way. But the volunteers were some of the veterans. And so it was cool to have the veterans and some of their, the jackets and the hat, and they were giving away pins.
Mhm.
And they were so nice, so
Mhm.
nice. And then I had another event at Liberation Park in Oakland. I wanted them to bring a jet cockpit. I'm glad they didn't because it was hot
Yeah.
that day, and I didn't need
Get it out
anything
there.
out. Yeah,
Mhm.
but it was great, and that's one thing that they do.
Mhm.
Another thing, from my understanding, is you can spend the night at the USS Hornet, right?
Oh, wow.
Yes, you can experience, 1945 sailor life if you really want to. We have two
Wow.
programs basically that we do our STEM programs with. The first is the day program, which is like where schools come, or in the summer camps will sometimes come. But we have a lot of school groups that come in and they do we call it the STEM to Stern tour, where they tour the ship and they learn about, the science and engineering. A new one that we're kind of working on is the same thing, and it's more towards high school students, but it's more like we call it Step into Technology, and it's slanted towards the vocational skills because there's a lot you can learn about trades on here too, kinds of stuff. And so we can talk to the restoration guys and things and show like how they do whatnot. So that's our day programs that we do with schools, and we do work with a lot of Title I schools. In fact, we've had scholarships available since 2012 when we first got our first grant to do this. And we always try to include that in any grants that we do.
Nice.
Some part for scholarships because a lot of kids, the transportation and just to afford a field trip and stuff. Um, we offer that. We also offer that on our virtual programs, to give the kids the opportunity. They might not always have. Same thing on the overnights. On the overnight programs, a couple of there's like kind of the STEM one, the basic STEM one, and then there's the new one they have, which they call Night Wings. My buddy, education director, is very good at coming up with names for things. Night Wings is focused a little more on aviation. We do a little bit more with that. With the pilots will talk and stuff, and you'll learn about the four forces of flight and all that good stuff and all that fun stuff there. And those we have sometimes larger groups will come, school groups sometimes, and again scholarships sometimes available for this too. Scout groups, church groups, youth groups, individual families can come too. If we have just like one scheduled for a night, if you can't get like a big enough group together, and people can sign up on certain dates, for that to come, and you come and you get to eat dinner in the mess hall. Very exciting. And then there's a tour of the ship for like 2 hours. Parents are usually losing it by about the end, and I'm getting pretty by about 10 o'clock. And the kids are like, "Ah." And then they do, if no one wants to go to bed quite yet, they do like some stories or something interesting or show a movie. And then they go sleep actually on the racks, on the bunks,
Wow.
which is a little spooky. And and then you get up and you have breakfast in the mess hall. It's a neat, we like to call it the immersive history experience. That's what the museum people call it. But it really is. I mean, have you been on board, either of you?
No.
You
I have yet to go to the USS Hornet, even though it's right over the bridge.
It's right over the bridge from you. I know. Well, if you ever want to come and just let me know, and I'll hook you up, and you guys can come, and I'll show you around or something.
Sounds
Happy to do
good.
that. Yeah, come and see. I'm happy to. But it really is neat. Like I said, people come on board, and it is like stepping back into history. It's just so.
Well, my
Incredible
wonderful
all this
co-host
stuff.
on the East Coast.
I'll take a trip.
So
I will make a
yeah,
trip to get the
come on.
experience.
Yes.
Yeah,
Just shoot me an email.
yeah.
Um,
I did want to take a moment to share the website. Let me go.
Oh yes.
So here we go. So the USS Hornet .org or USS-Hornet.org
yes, there's a
is
dash in there, like my last name. Yes, we have that too. Yeah.
that's where
Yeah,
you can
if you go down to like field trips there,
mhm.
right there.
And that's the cockpit right there.
Yeah, there's the cockpit. See? And this tells you all our information about our education program, overnights, STEM to Stern. We also do ones that are slanted, more toward history. The passport to history is really neat, where the kids get like a passport of someone who was an actual crew member, and they learn about the day-to-day life of this sailor or this pilot or whatever, and they go out
Oh
and learn
nice.
about things that they did. That's for the younger kids. And then field trip at sea is kind of the general one. We will go into a classroom too. We don't get a lot of those, but we can do that. Like I said, we have our virtual programs too. We have the ready room time where they can talk to a real pilot about things. That's in our virtual programs. And then step back into technology is the one I was talking about with like the vocational, and then our night programs. But it's a lot of fun. I mean, I really enjoy teaching it. I know education director, she's like never going to forgive me for going into development, but I still go back and
Yeah,
but it's
and
just so. I mean, there's so much to see, and just to run around the ship and just seeing the magnitude of things is just it's so big. And just the progress of technology. I don't know the numbers exactly, but we have an Apollo exhibit, from our Apollo history. I can't remember the numbers, but it compares like the computing power that got the astronauts to the moon,
Okay.
and then it compares it with what you have today in your iPhone.
Oh.
It's just orders of magnitude greater what you have in your phone than what was used to get the guys to the moon. So I mean, when kids see that, and it just like it puts it in perspective. And
Absolutely. I believe
gives
it.
them a sort of a just a societal context for things too. So
I love
it's
that.
not fun.
And can you repeat the website again?
Sure. It's USS hyphen Hornet.org. ORG. Mhm.
And I see Alon in the chat saying hi. Hi, Alon. Thank you for joining us tonight. Dr. Ted, do you have any other questions you want to ask?
Absolutely. So it's like the question I've been holding on to. So when people call, I don't know how this is set up because it sounds like it's multiple ways in which somebody can just say, "Hey, I want the USSR experience," right? It could be
Mhm.
maybe a child or for a parent
Mhm.
reaching
Right.
out to a class teacher reaching out, right?
Mhm.
What is the number one thing that you say you have to experience when you're going through the USSR experience?
What's my favorite thing? Oh, I have so many favorite things. Um, okay, probably one of my favorite things is what's called the CIC, which I think there's a picture on our website of it, which is the Combat Information Center.
Mhm.
And it's the one that looks like straight out of the movies. It's all restored. By the way, our ship has been restored. We started in 1998 as a museum. We're celebrating our 25th anniversary, 80 years of the ship this
Nice.
year. And like all of our restoration work has been done by volunteers. We also have a lot of volunteer opportunities, to learn how to restore things and airplanes
That's
and ships and
good to
all
know
kinds of things.
too.
But CIC is the radar, where you think of like in the movies, when they're looking in like the radar room and
Mhm.
the blue light and everything. That's one of my favorite things is CIC, definitely. And if you can go up on the bridge and sit in the captain's chair, you can go sit in the captain's chair and get your picture taken. Yeah.
Love that.
So a lot of the ship is available that you can just walk on, down the main drag and stuff. And then there's also like special tours that the docents do down to the engine room. The engine room is totally restored. We don't go floating out in the bay like Jeremiah O'Brien does. We are here. But the engine room has been restored to like the appearance of what it looked like, and it's pretty crazy with the generators down there and the big steam valves, and the kids are just very different than modern carriers now. But this is what these guys were doing in the 40s. So
Wow.
Yeah, I've actually been on like geological research boats,
oh
and I haven't been on the USS Hornet, but the beds on the newer boats are still small. So I'm like, when we talk about spending the night on the USS Hornet, how big is that little little cot like bed? And do I have to duck to go through the doorways and all that
well,
good stuff?
the funny thing on the ship was built in 1942, and the average height of a guy back then was 5'9". So even I mean I'm 5'5" and I bang my head on stuff, and anyone who's
Wow.
really tall, you really got to look out. That's why we all wear hats, so our hats get knocked off. But it's funny though, because on a ship there's that thing of like space is a precious commodity and is a high premium, and so there are
Hmm.
bunks racks everywhere. I mean, even like down in the bomb area and stuff, there's like a couple of bunks in there. It's like, how'd you like your bunk right next to the bomb area, or the torpedoes? Like that. And there's also different accommodations on the ship too. I mean, there's the racks, which we call them the racks, which are the ones you think like with the chains, where there's three. Go on the top. But it's interesting because that would be been for like the enlisted guys.
Right.
And then for the further forward, you have what's called JOB, which is junior officers, which they actually have a little bit wider, like a real twin mattress. And it's still, the
Mm.
area, but it's a little bit nicer. And then the officers, they were like two or three or more to a stateroom, but those are the staterooms. And they have, those are a little nicer. Those are for the officers and like some of the pilots and stuff. So, so it's interesting looking at that too, the different ways you can stay on
Right.
ships.
So for the overnight experience, how is it decided who sleeps where, I guess?
Well, it just kind of gets assigned
I'm
to
just
you.
saying I need to find the last one you made reference to. It has like the three beds. I need to find my way to that list.
Right.
Hotel Hornet.
Exactly.
Yes. We do have staterooms available. And, if you were ever out here and you wanted to do something like that, and I
Okay.
could probably put something up for you. Typically for our overnights, they're in the racks or JOB. Usually
Okay.
not the staterooms, but we do have available for special guests. My old office
Right.
used to have a bunk in it. I did
Nice.
spend the night a couple times in my office when I was here, late for something that was very nice, very quiet, very dark because it's below decks and there's.
Right.
But then I got my new office, that has a porthole in it. So I traded my bunk for a porthole, but still kind of miss my bunk.
You just go on, if you need to, walk through the ship, get you a little bunk,
Well,
Yes.
take a
there's
nap.
always sick bay. We have a beautifully restored sick bay, and you go down there, get it closed or something. You need a nap, sometimes you gotta do that.
I love that.
Um, but it's a
all,
really
all
special
for it.
place. I mean, the folks that work here, we're all a very dedicated crew. We're all a little crazy, but you got to be a little crazy to work on a World War II aircraft carrier. But we do some really good
Yeah,
stuff here. So
yeah. There was a woman, I guess, nicknamed Bubbles, who came to my last event, and she showcased how excited some of the people who work for the USS Hornet can be.
yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, we yes, we can be very bubbly about. I
This
mean,
is good.
we just love the ship and the folks that work so hard restoring the planes and the
Right.
ship itself. It's just the work they do is amazing. I mean, the work they've done over the last 25 years, even just opening the ship up and just beautifully restoring it. It's been We are the most authentically restored carrier around. So we're a little
Wow.
different than say like Midway down in San Diego, which is a different class ship too, so it's bigger. But they've done a
Hmm.
lot more like modification of their ship to make it more accessible and whatnot. We're a historical landmark, so we can't really cut things up.
Much.
So everything is restored as it was when she was built. So that's kind of our thing. We are working on a lot of accessibility sort of things now too, because it is a little hard, sometimes. So we're working on getting better access, at least up to our flight deck, and even up to the hangar deck and the flight deck, and
Nice.
working on some virtual programming for folks too. Folks that can't get into those areas, down on the
Right.
second deck and third deck and stuff. So we're working on that.
I love that because it just increases the amount of ways that we can learn more from, once again, this resource, right? So my
Mhm.
last question, because I know the students that I work with, they always want the reenactment or a demonstration of the most dangerous thing, right? Uh, for some reason, I always find those students. So I know in this setting, they would ask if it could be some type of reenactment of a war or some type of battle setting where they would know maybe the overnight experience, how they would have to become alert and be ready to do whatever they're supposed to be assigned to do based on, I know you said they read the passports and the person and what they would do throughout the day. Is there any type of reenactment or just even a breakdown of that experience and preparation for those types of situations?
Well, we could, run the battle stations thing on the 1MC at like 6 a.m. if you like. Where they run the thing and the red lights are flashing and that. Oh, yeah. We do that definitely. One of the most interesting things about a carrier, actually, one of the most dangerous jobs in the world still today is on the deck of an aircraft carrier, and
Mm.
it's something that I find fascinating. And especially, I mean, we have like little fences on the side of our flight deck. There were no fences. There's a little catwalk under there, but otherwise there's no fence. And you've got these giant planes, and even today, you have the jets up there, and you've got the fuel guys and the ordnance guys and the pilots and the crew chiefs and the planes, and everybody wears a different color shirt. And have you ever seen like pictures of an aircraft carrier? And everybody knows exactly where they need to be and when they need to be there, because if you don't, it's not going to go well for you. It's just fascinating to me, just the whole how a flight deck works is just amazing how everybody knows where they need to be. I mean, like in World War II, they were launching planes off like what every 30 seconds or something. Launching these tiny planes.
Wow.
and one's coming in on the back, and it's yeah. If you want the most dangerous thing, it would be just every day on the flight deck.
Right. Wow.
That, I mean, it makes me think of like, of course, the movies and stuff like
Mhm.
that. And it's the plane. If they miss the little the little hook on the wire, that wire gets
Right.
broken and it's flopping everywhere. You know, that's
Yeah, they finally introduced the bird, invented the angled deck, so you didn't crash into the ones in front of you. Yeah, so they can come around. But yeah, we have the arresting gears and stuff too, and it's really neat to talk to the pilots, the guys here, some of whom flew on and off the deck,
Mm.
and Navy pilots just fascinate me because I'm like, how do you guys do this with a tiny little
Space.
runway that's
Yes.
going like this and like this at night in
hmm
the dark? Yeah, it's just the Navy pilots, they are amazing. And to hear these guys like tell the stories of when they were coming in to catch the wire and stuff, it's pretty cool.
Well, we do have a Navy pilot who will be on our interviewing next month. So, Charlotte,
Oh,
please, we would love for you to at least be in a chat,
yeah,
sending
let
some
me know when that
questions.
is. Yeah, send me that.
Absolutely.
Use my own. I'll
I'll
get my
definitely,
computer on that.
I'll share you guys information, or I can start an email
Mhm.
thread, the three of us,
Please, because I'm
and we can
trying to
do
get on this ship and have the overnight experience. And hopefully, somebody gives me the best room in bed. And then,
Let me know. I'll see what I can do.
but no, I think this is great. And also for the students having the access to this as a resource and learning about this, even if they can't leave their classroom, having the virtual.
We do have virtual programs, and you can get somebody in the classrooms. And because we started doing that over COVID, of course, we had to like pivot and take some of our programs and make these virtual programs that folks really, yeah, they really, it was kind of fun, for the kids. And then we would like send materials or ideas and stuff, classroom guides for the teachers so that they can like do something along with it. And just as another note, all of our STEM program, we developed it when we originally got a grant with the Naval Academy with their STEM outreach program, which by the way is fabulous. I don't know if you know, they had a STEM outreach office
Mm.
and they do all kinds of like teacher workshops and stuff. So do check them out. They're really good folks there. But the neat thing is all of our activities, our hands-on activities, were meant to be kind of simple
Okay.
and just using really basic materials so that like a teacher could replicate this in a classroom, without. I mean, I'm a former teacher myself, so I know. But just being able to do that, and I think we have some stuff on our website, or we might be putting some more up soon of some ideas like for lesson plans, and whatnot. But it's a lot. I mean, I can teach you, 4 courses of flight with a piece of paper. Just doing that, and just the simplest paper airplane.
Love
We do
that.
that. Other stuff. So it's stuff the kids, they can take home with them, and they can do it too. So
Nice. I love
Well,
that.
see, I have a 2-year-old, so until I find someone to take him for the night, I'm not spending the night. I mean, his dad can take him, but I also feel like his dad will be like, I want to spend the night on the ship too. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to figure that out before I spend the night. But I definitely need to do a visit. So you'll be
you
hearing
do
from me,
need to come
Charlotte,
and
about at
see.
least doing a visit.
Yes, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not with him though. I don't bring sand to the
Now with the
beach,
2-year-old,
especially.
I remember those days with my. Then they turn into snarky teenagers. But yeah,
I know how steep them stairs and stuff are.
Yeah.
So now he can stay at home.
yes, the ladders are all different pitches and stuff.
Right.
It's delightful running around here. It's just a big job hazard. Yeah,
I believe
don't
it.
run on the
Is
decks. We learn. We've all bashed our knees on the, our shins on the combings, and I've bashed my knee on the passageways and stuff too. So we've all.
It's a big hazard.
it's like that. Charlotte, is there anything else you want to share?
Nothing I can think of really, but I mean, if you're interested, check out our website. Contact the education department. We do all kinds of tours and stuff too. And if there's something that you have in mind, shoot a message to our education department or to our info. We also sometimes have, I don't know if we're doing anything this year, maybe next year. Like last year, we had an aviation career day.
Okay.
Career days and stuff for the kids to come and like learn about careers in aviation or stuff. I also see you had on one of your pictures on your website, you had Dr. Cagle, Dr. Von
Mm-hmm.
Cagle. Yeah, she's come here a few times too and done some stuff for us. into that.
Yeah,
But yeah, whenever we
she's a
have
good
special
friend.
events like that, we sometimes do some neat stuff. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, she's a good friend and mentor. And I know I'm gonna probably send her a text after this because they told us it was a replica. But when I tell her that it's actually real, she's gonna be like,
The cockpit, if they're talking about like the airplane cockpit, that's real. If they're talking about like
okay,
a space capsule, those are like what they call boilerplates. This was an airplane.
yes.
It was either the F8 Crusader or the F11. Those are the two cockpits. Was it like on a trailer and stuff too?
Hmm.
Okay. Mhm.
Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna let her know that that was real, and she's probably gonna be like, "What?" You know, but it's cool.
You
Yeah. Well, thank you for taking your time out
Thank you
tonight.
for
I
having
know
me. I'm always happy to talk about this stuff.
Yeah,
Looks like
I
you're doing good
appreciate it.
stuff too. So keep up the good work with the
absolutely.
Well,
education.
thank you.
And
Did you have anything else to add, Dr.
for a
Tay?
reminder to everyone, please go to the site is in the comment
The chat.
section. It is uss-hornet.org. Please go there and in any capacity you're in. You can be a teacher that wants to bring your class. You can be wants to have some type of hybrid situation where you have the virtual learning platform to get the full experience, or you can do an overnight experience in the USS Hornet. So take advantage of this option, this available resource. There's so many things you can learn about with history and STEM.
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
excited. I'm going to put it on my list and make my way to the other coast.
Oh, all the way,
To
all
do
the way
that,
left coast. Okay.
the West Coast, get that done one day. But I encourage anybody and everyone else who is listening, who looks at this video later on, and take advantage of this as well.
Mhm. Sounds good.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And thank you so
All
much.
right, Charlotte, I'm giving you your Wednesday back. Thank you for joining
Yes,
us.
thank
Thank
you,
you for
Charlotte.
having me. If you have any questions, just let me know. Just shoot me an email.
All right,
Absolutely.
awesome.
All right. Have a good evening, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
I like this.
All right.
This is kind of like what is it called? Musical chairs, where you just throw the next person in, and then we go. It's like speed dating. We're speed
Yes,
dating with people in STEM who have great resources for the kids.
absolutely, absolutely. So we don't have a second person for tonight, so I wanted to us to chat and talk about. I know the whole thing that came about because of you going to San Diego and Comic Con and the things that you did there. So do you want to share that and talk about that right
Absolutely. Well,
now?
it was a few things. So the first thing, I went to Seattle the week before I went to San Diego, and so I have a good friend by the name of Dr. William White. He has his education doctorate, and he has this amazing program called My Brother's Teacher, which is a mentorship program for men who would like to become teachers. He provides them with not just a mentor, but also a network that usually lands these students into scholarship funded programs in order for them to get their degrees. And what he started to do was create STEM programs, utilizing, the people within the community, but also asked me to come out to help him as well. And it's an amazing event where he's covering STEAM in so many different ways with hands-on activities, with having people from the careers come out and talk about their careers, to even having, he had a DJ at the last one, an ice cream truck, and so on, right? So he's bringing in the
Mhm.
arts of different ways of just trying to mesh these things. But what I love about his programs the most is he brings it to an area that's accessible to everyone. So the last time it was at a children's museum, and the kids literally were playing in the museum in between the sessions, after the sessions, and so on. So it's like we kind of heightened their sense of wanting to explore, and then we let them go explore in the museum, which was great.
Yes.
Then the week after, it was like this amazing lineup, which I so needed in my life. The AAAS IFTIN ambassadors, some of us went to San Diego for Comic Con, and we served on different panels where we talked about our careers, and we associated with supervillains and superheroes in the comics. So for me in particular, I was talking about being a neuroscientist, and I associated it with Jean Grey.
Mhm.
And who else did I have? Oh, I had She-Hulk, as well as, I cannot remember the third person. Oh, No, I don't want to lie. So I think it was Frost, but I may be wrong. And talking about the neuroscience behind their super abilities or super villain powers. So especially Jean Grey, I talked about like neuron firing and how this thought of being able to move objects with your brain is really not that far fetched when you think about prosthetics and recording brain waves and then utilizing that information to move the limb with the muscles and so on. And then She-Hulk, her muscles, her ability to control her anger, all of that's associated with neuroscience, whether it's your neurotransmitters or chemicals in your brain. We also did STEAM. We had a STEAM fair where all of us did splash talks, like 5-minute talks about our careers, and also did hands-on activities at the tables with the kids. And last but definitely not least, and this is why I'm excited to bring all these people here, we also learned how to fly planes. I learned how to fly a Cessna 172, which is a small plane. So we
Mm-hmm.
were talking about that, and I actually learned from a crew that was led by a Navy pilot. Um, and it was fun. I was 3,500 feet above houses, literally flying on my own. And they trusted me enough to do that, which to this day, I'm really questioning their
That wasn't a simulation. That was a real
it was a
plane that you were in.
real plane, and above and everything. And I just think it was the most it was the most exciting and exhilarating time of my life. I had the best time. All of these events were one to increase diversity in STEM, let them see who us in these places. Especially,
Mhm.
as a pilot, Black female pilots were, I think we only represent 1% of pilots, period, that exist in the US. It was very motivating to see that I could do something that really goes against like the stigma of being in these spots in these places, but also trying to hopefully motivate the next generation to get past those things as well. So very exciting. I hope to be able to talk about it later on with the other people that were a part of these programs with me. I'm excited to see what's coming up next. But what about you, Kat? You had the amazing festival, and I know you talked a little bit about it during this interview, but please tell us some more.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But before I go in there, I just wanted to highlight that they're offering aviation and there's more getting accreditation because more and more Black people are learning to fly. So I just Googled real quick some of the top ones. So Florida Memorial University, Delaware State,
Okay.
Tuskegee, of course, Hampton. Oh, I think that's it. But these are HBCUs that offer aviation that you can take. So
I
Black
love
people are
that.
flying now. That's what's up.
Well, that's the thing,
And
right?
then
Like, that's the thing that was the big thing, right? Black people are flying, right? So it's like we have to encourage each other to go past the things that we're not used to doing. And sometimes, even when I say, I know I'm a very courageous person, I do a lot of bold things. But a lot of times when I say I'm going to do something, people don't believe me, or they're like, why would you do that? Why are you signing up to do that? We don't do that type of stuff. So it's great to see it at HBCUs because it's going to change the culture in a lot of different ways. I may have to look up Delaware because I'm close. So
yeah, yeah, you should. Um, yeah, and I think that's amazing. Same thing with me going on research boats and studying oceanography and
yeah,
geology. People are like, I'm not getting on a boat. A boat took brought our ancestors here. And I'm like, okay, yes. However, you can still get on a boat and learn the science that's going on. We can
right.
talk about that in a whole different conversation, but you can learn about the science that's going on. And but yeah, so I just had my program at Liberation Park
Mm-hmm.
where we had a multitude of groups come, Chabot Space and Science Center, GEMS, my group, Bonita the Bumblebee, USS Hornet, the Oakland Public Library, and we had the fire truck that came in, and I'm probably missing some. I hope they don't get mad at me. But yeah, we had all that come in. It was really great to see the community come out and get to do free hands-on stuff. And the Liberation Park and the Black Cultural Zone offered free food, free drinks, free game, plants, Reiki, I think is what it's called,
Okay.
cleansing.
Oh,
And so they've already hit me up about doing it again. So I don't know when, but they do want to bring it back. So hopefully
yay.
we'll be able to do that again.
Mm-hmm.
And I've hit up some of them, plus some of the people who were on the podcast previously,
Okay.
to also come on here, talk about their programs. So I know one, if any of the listeners remember Jordan, she wants to be an astronaut, I believe, and she does. She was recently in Germany doing engineering, I think, and
Okay.
so she does work at Florida State. I want to say,
Mhm.
I could be lying about everything, but she definitely wants to come on and talk about what she
You
does,
hear us,
which is
Jordan? We will make up your story if you don't come on here and tell it yourself.
exactly. So I need you to come on here and tell the truth, because I'm just confusing everybody, I'm pretty sure.
Um,
And there's some other groups, some other people, but I think she's the first one. Plus, who's coming on the 30th? Who else?
Oh, so we have Steam Urban. And Steam
Mm-hmm.
Urban is an amazing program in New Jersey from some great people that I've worked with in the past. And, they're doing anything from hands-on activities to exposing the youth to activism in STEAM, justice in STEAM, and so on. So I really want them to come out and talk about their events because they're always doing something. And what I really love about them is they highlight radical educators. So I've never claimed to be a teacher for a lot of different reasons. And I
Mm-hmm.
sometimes found myself kind of lost in this world where people want to label you as something. But I do believe that I give great STEM education, access to STEM education, I educate in STEM, and I provide programs and whatever else through my STEM education ability. But I don't do it the most unorthodox way, right? So I felt very honored to be called a radical educator by Steam Urban. Every time they highlight their radical educators of the year, when they say, "Hey, Dr. Tay is one," I'm like, "Thank you," because sometimes the best way to get in touch with the audiences that we're trying to help is to do something outside of the box, and that is what makes a radical educator. So I love that. I'm happy to see them come. They do anything and everything from like exposing yogis and their association with STEM, a DJ. They've had a DJ before. They've had a lot of different things, engineers and people in math and so on, of course, and then myself in science. So I'm excited to see them come on and talk about their programs as well.
Awesome. And I do want to highlight another group.
Mm-hmm.
I told them I would, but they didn't have the opportunity to come on tonight. But out here in Oakland, we have Self Esteem,
Ooh.
which is a nonprofit out here in Oakland that's for girls. So this is a STEM program for ages 7 to 17. They have a week-long summer program, work camp, I should say,
Okay.
but they have things all throughout the year. So if you have a girl anywhere near the Oakland area, in the Bay Area, check out Self Esteem at selfesteemstem.org. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll put that in the chat as well. But they are a great organization to know. And I've done programs with them in the past. They do pipeline work, getting kids into schools. They've got all these sponsors. So I did want to highlight them. Check out Self Esteem. They are a great program out here in the Bay Area.
Absolutely. And then I know
Awesome.
I'm trying to think of everybody else that we're going to have. What the big thing that I do want to say is we are still, whoever else sees this video and says, "Hey, I'm not on that list," please reach out to us. There are plenty of dates available. We can keep doing this until 2027. It doesn't matter. The point is that we want to make sure people know about your programs, right? Especially if they're free and if they're available to everyone within your community. We want to help you use this platform to get it out there. I know that I have reached out to and I received a yes from Maynard Okereke. I think he's in California, if I'm not mistaken. He's called the Hip Hop MD. And
Oh yeah, I've
yeah,
heard of him.
so I love him, and I love that what he does for science communication or engineering communication. He twists it with hip hop in all ways,
Mm-hmm.
and every now and then it catches me off, right? Like he'll say some type of lyric to somebody's rap song and say, "Well, this isn't true according to science," or whatever else, and I'm like, I see what you did there. I see what you did there. So we'll have him on. He did give us a yes today. He's looking for some good dates. to come on.
Okay.
And then also one of my colleagues, Dr. Adrienne Stevenson, who is at Florida State University. She is one of the assistant deans in a graduate school, and she's a graduate from FAMU and has a PhD in neurotoxic pharmacology, if I'm not mistaken. But she does it's this program called Color in STEM, where she arranges the DNA art and finding out your ability to kind of associate yourself in a STEM career and what you could bring and contribute to STEM based on your
Mm.
characteristics. And then you're doing this during this art that she has copywritten and legally owns. So there's so many different ways and things to talk about with her, because she also does a highlight of women in STEM every year for with a combination of people from FAMU and FSU. And they've had 250 plus girls attend their program on a yearly basis. So we want to talk about all these things. I get excited just, listening to the people you have coming and talking about the ones I have
Mhm.
coming.
I love it. Also, I'm gonna do something I rarely do, which talk about myself
Yes.
because I'm not good at it. But I did start a new group, and let me see if I can share that
Mhm.
page. Melanin Minds in STEM on Facebook. So
I
this is
saw
a
that. Oh, let me join
yeah.
it
I'm
right
trying to
now.
build a community where we are talking about STEM. And so I just did this experiment, a video experiment where we did vinegar and baking soda to make the balloons blow up. And I did another video recently with sticking a sharpened pencil through a bag of water, and it explains the science behind it. But I definitely want to bring more and more people into the group. So if you're into STEM and as a parent or an educator and you just want to talk about what we can do at home with our kids and even outside the home
Mhm.
is will be amazing. So I want to grow that community. As you probably saw, I shared the podcast in there, but I also want to share more things. I just bought some STEM related toys for my son, so I'm going to share that soon and see, which one he likes and what's going to go on the table next time I'm tabling. So, yeah.
I love it. And I love that you have like the questionnaire. Okay, nobody can see this, but I love that you have the questionnaire to protect who's going to be coming into this group from the crazies. Um,
Mhm.
so thank you for that, especially with kids being on this. I want to highlight how important that is,
Yeah.
making sure that it's a safe grounds for literally just learning the right things.
And that's it. I mean, as Dr. Tay and I probably say all the time, I mean, the biggest thing about this is getting our next generation
Mhm.
into STEM, at least understanding it, being open minded to it.
Right.
Even if you don't actually go into the field, being knowledgeable about it is
Absolutely.
important.
Absolutely. Just knowing your options, right? And having a better idea of them. And for the parents that don't may not understand this, there is a study that goes out almost every year. And I can't remember the name of the labs off the top of my head, but I know NSF reprints the study. And basically they look at interests across different demographics for STEM careers. And they always say that for STEM careers, we're the lowest, Black and Brown communities are lowest in representation of interest levels for those careers. And I got up during a conference this past year or last year. Time has gone by. I have no idea at this point. I got up during a conference that presented this data, and I asked the question, how exactly do we really know if the person understood the STEM careers and the amount of STEM careers in that category that you're asking to survey? And they really didn't have a clear answer. And I think that's a problem across the board for everyone to really put their hands on. I think all of us can help, whether you're an educator, teacher, parent, or whatever else, to keep exposing your kids to these different options, especially to those who say, I didn't even know this was an option when I was growing up. Hopefully that motivates you to make sure that the next generation has a little bit more knowledge that we didn't have. There's a lot of careers I still have no idea exist. And if I did, who knows if I would have been a neuroscientist, I may be something else, have no idea. But just having access to that information allows them to make a better judgment call when it comes to time and deciding education, jobs, or whatever else.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just letting your kids explore, if you can, explore the different sports and let them do softball and baseball and basketball and
Mhm.
football and just see which ones they like. same thing with STEM. Just let them do engineering, biology, geology,
Mhm.
neuroscience, whatever. And like you said, this podcast has opened my eyes to jobs I didn't know existed. And one of them is a group of Black women who study sharks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I'd known that in college and, really thought, hey, I'm not going to be the only Black person getting in this boat to go study marine life,
Right.
I probably did, because I love the blue whale. Like, if I can get on, put it out there, anyone studies the blue whale and want just to tag along, let me know.
Us know.
Let us know. Let us know, because I would love to go on a boat and just,
Yeah.
or actually be on a helicopter and just see a blue whale
Oh
in
my
in there.
goodness. So you can get the whole, oh my goodness. I can't
Yes,
even.
that's a bucket list.
Yeah.
Like, let me be on a helicopter and just see the span of a blue whale in nature.
That's on my list
Like,
now. Right, right, right. That's
yes,
so
yes.
amazing. And
Hmm.
you said it correctly. If just as easy as we're able to try out sports, it's just as easy as trying out these STEM programs and so on. And we're making it easier for you by highlighting STEM programs that are accessible to you. Like I'm coming with the East Coast and a little bit of the West Coast. Kat definitely has the West Coast covered. So we have you. We've got these options
We
available.
got you.
Yes.
Yes, yes. And if there's something you want to learn about, let us know. We probably between the two of us know someone who does it. So
Absolutely.
let us know what you're interested in, and we'll go from there.
Exciting.
All right. Well, this hour has gone by. Do you have anything you want to add, Dr. Tay?
Nope, can't wait until the next Wednesday that we have another highlight of a program. Kat, look at you excited.
I know. I am excited. I am. And shoot, I'm gonna figure out that blue whale thing though. That's been on my mind for years. I love to
I
do
like the
that. That's
helicopter idea. I really want to see like the full scope of the body and everything.
Yeah, you on a boat, you ain't gonna know. You're gonna be like, oh, I see just a little piece, but you gotta be
Right.
in a helicopter
Well,
and
and
fly.
I have done a boat tour and saw like when they dive, so they come up a little bit, and you only see like a little bit of the top part when they're breathing with
Mhm.
the whole breathing hole, whatever. Don't please people
Yeah.
don't get on me for not knowing the anatomy of a whale, but wherever they breathe out of and that much coming out of the water, I did see that, right? And we were very close, and I zoomed in with the camera. But on top, that takes it to another level.
Man, man. And those are nostrils. If you look at them, there's two
Thank
holes, and
you.
those are nostrils that over evolutionary time
Uh-huh.
went from here to here.
That's crazy.
Right?
See, our well boat tour guide did not tell us that at all. He just said it's breathing.
He's not nerdy enough.
And
Yeah, we're nerdy enough
now I
to
know.
do it. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Again, let us know in the comments you listen to this or watch this later. Let us know what you're interested in, but keep up with us because we already got a couple of people booked for the next couple of Wednesdays. So we're excited to talk about all the programs that we know of and probably going to learn about
Yes.
in the future about what our kids can do for free, majority of the time, for free.
Yes.
All right, y'all. Have a good night.
Good night, everyone.